welcome to Stripped Down Sunday. My name is Reverend Ryan Alexander, and this is Soul Evolution Collaborative. And so this is our Sunday afternoon experience called Stripped Down Sunday, where we, simply take the topic or the idea for the week and kind of do a little talk around it. Some maybe expand on some insight that we have learned over the week as we've been discussing this topic, not only amongst ourselves, but with our community. So I'm grateful that you're here. If you are wondering what in the world is Soul Evolution Collaborative, you can find out that answer on our website, soulevolutioncollaborative.org. It shows a lot about the events and things that are going on with our community, what we believe, what we stand for, how we want to live and move and be in the world. So hop on over there. If it looks like something you would love to get involved in, there's so many events that you can come and just show up as you are, no matter what that is. And so we invite you to do that. So thank you for tuning in with us this morning. So today I am talking about cultivating light. And so it's a little bit different. We've been talking about recovering the light this week. And so, but I thought about this idea of cultivating really kind of has been stirring in my mind. So I thought I would kind of apply this idea to our theme of the month, which is recovering the light. And so it's interesting to note that the title of the talk is Cultivating the Light. Now, that doesn't mean that we're creating the light. And so there's a subtle difference in the language, and it reflects our understanding that light or spirituality or that divine thing within us, it is not acquiring it. Instead, it's realizing that that is already there. So today I'm not talking about any special formula to be more spiritual or to develop the light within, but instead it's about kind of pushing back the cobwebs of our own awareness and understanding that we really already have everything that we need, and we are the light, and there is nothing more that we could say or do to add to that. But instead, the journey is about sharpening our awareness. So I absolutely love this word cultivate. And I think it's just a perfect word to explain the process of increasing our awareness. So we often think of this word when we're talking about farming or gardening, and we imagine preparing the soil for the experience of growth. And that's exactly what the definition suggests. To cultivate refers to the preparation of the land to grow something or to nurture something or cause growth, either literally or figuratively. And so, our process and journey is to nurture or grow an awareness of that which is already present. And, we do this by consciously setting intentions to remove those things from our lives that serve to block our awareness. And I have mine, and I know you have yours. And just like you would remove blocks or remove rocks or weeds in the soil before you plant anything. If you don't do this, then the growth is impacted. The roots can't take hold, or the things can't push up through the soil. And so, these blocks are as individual as those things that help to remove them. So, there's really no magic formula. If you do this, and this is, it'll happen every time. And there's no surefire step-by-step way to do it, but then you're on the right path. So we're all unique, and our relationship with our own light, our own divinity is unique. So today I want to talk about a few little things that I've learned along my path with a little bit of a twist. I'm going to share with you 4 big lessons that my yoga mat has taught me about cultivation and connection, about cultivating my awareness and understanding the light, about connecting to that light that is within me. And so it's my hope that you can take some of the lessons that I've learned, and it may spark something in you as well. All right, so let's get started. Now, I know this sounds a bit random, and what does this have to do with cultivating the light? And hopefully by the end, you'll have a clearer answer. So here it goes. It makes sense in my mind, right? And so we're going to go for it. Sometimes the first thing that I've learned about from my yoga mat is sometimes the most important thing we can do is show up. Now, this is not implying any sort of inaction, like we just show up and that's it. But instead, it speaks to the importance of intention and willingness. And so there are many times when I wake up and the last thing I want to do is yoga. Believe me, this morning, last thing I want to do is yoga. In fact, I didn't even do it. And I even, sometimes leave my yoga mat out right beside my bed or, in my office as a reminder of my intention that I have set to nurture my body and my well-being, to nurture that aspect of the light within. And so there are times when I, try to avoid it and, even trip over it, on my way to do something else. But it really serves as a reminder of my intention, my desire, my willingness to show up each and every day. And so sometimes showing up doesn't look perfect. And much like our own spiritual journey, the focus should not be on some sense of perfection or doing all the right things, but instead seeing clear intentions, being willing to take a close look at those things in our lives that serve to cloud our awareness, that serve to block our either our remembering or our understanding of our own light, those things that try to dim that light. And so an example of a simple thought that can serve to totally blanket our light is that I'm not good enough. We've all had this thought. Some of us may be having this experience right now. So how this works against this whole idea of cultivating our light is that all of our focus and our energy and intent is on perpetuating this thought, and our gaze is turned towards it. And so we get so caught up in the heavy energy of this and maybe some other thoughts that distract us from the truth. The truth of our worth, our inherent goodness, our peace, our joy, our light, all that amazing stuff that we know that we are. So we have to be willing to, stop those thoughts dead in their tracks, to practice awareness. And, sometimes that's just being aware that, I'm having this thought. I'm having this kind of limiting thought or belief about myself, and I know it's not true. And set intention to live from a different space. But like I said, first we have to be willing to show up and practice. And this is not something that we perfect overnight, but this is a practice. It's a constantly turning back to that awareness of the light, and to move, we can't just move from like doing a basic, child's pose and all of a sudden be doing a killer, headstand. Just like in yoga, it takes practice. It takes movement, it takes stretching, it takes just an awareness and stepping into that space. And so I'm still learning. So a second thing that I've learned from my yoga mat is that breathing is sort of important. And now this speaks to present moment awareness, and this is really important when we're talking about cultivating our light. And now I know we talk about this present moment awareness a lot, and sometimes so much that we lose sight of the importance of the concept itself in this idea of present moment awareness. And for me, this represents this space of limitless possibilities. It is a moment that is not hindered by the past or nervous about the future. It is interested. If you've ever done yoga, when you get into this difficult pose, the more you're present, the more you kind of sink into that breath, it becomes easier and easier. You find this kind of create this space, this expansion. And so the same idea of the physical breath kind of mirrors this connection and reciprocity, this breathing in of oxygen, breathing out of CO2. From an emotional or spiritual angle, breathing in the things that serve us, breathing out the things that do not serve us. And this is really important in cultivating light, especially in these areas that serve to block our awareness of that. Being in that present moment, being aware of maybe our thoughts, being aware of our intentions, and allowing them to be and just rest in that present moment. And we can come closer and closer to that connection. When we're in the flow, when we are in this balance, we're open to whatever comes into our experience. And this openness serves to prepare us for the joy of limitless possibilities, which is what this light is within us, to strengthen our receptivity muscle, which is important for this awareness, and most certainly important for our continued awareness of this connection to this presence that is within us, this light within us. The third thing I've learned from my yoga mat or from my yoga experience is, sometimes you need props, and sometimes more oftentimes than not, and this is true in yoga when we face challenging poses. But this is also, true in life when we experience challenging times. That connection, that support that comes by way of being in community with others. This support helps to move us through those kind of tight, challenging areas. Um, so, in yoga, we have blocks and straps and bolsters and all sorts of, sometimes even the wall to support us, to help us through those times. And when it can be hard for us to forward fold and to touch both hands to the ground, we may have a very tight hamstring that day. So we need a little extra help. And I can't help but think of my favorite Bible story which I think demonstrates so clearly the importance of community and support, especially in this idea when we're cultivating this light, when we're remembering this light within, when we're trying to remove maybe some blocks or some things in our awareness that have blocked, us from really seeing that light within and really allowing it to express in our life. And my favorite Bible story is the story of the lowering the man through the roof. And so on one of those days while Jesus was teaching, some proud religious law keepers and some teachers of the law were, uh, talking with him, and they had come from every town in the countries of Galilee and Judea and Jerusalem, and the power of the Lord was there to heal them. And so some men took a man who was not able to move his body to Jesus, and they carried him on a bed, and they looked, there were so many, people crowded in the house, and they looked for a way to take the man into the house where Jesus was, but they couldn't find a way to get in because there were so many people. It was so packed. And so they just made this hole in the roof, and they kind of lowered him down right where Jesus was standing. And, Jesus saw their faith and saw their effort and saw their intention and said, your sins are forgiven. And he said something to the effect of, take up your mat and walk, or get on with your life, or, something like that. But like, you know, that's kind of like what community is. Sometimes when we are unable to see that light within ourselves, that power of community and support that can kind of hold that truth for us until we're able to hold it for ourselves. And so that is the power of community. And community doesn't have to be like this massive crowd of people like in this story, but it can be those, one or two people, those people that support you, those people that are there for you, that you can show up authentically with, and allow them to do the same. And that's, what we are building with Soul Evolution Collaborative, building with people, this community of people. We can show up messy and all, and be able to hold the light for one another until we can hold it for ourselves, and we can become more aware of it for it ourselves. And so, the last thing that I've learned, and sometimes this is a challenging thing, is I'm the type of person that kind of wants kind of that instant gratification, that instant awareness, and instant kind of poof, and I'm like, in that kind of zone space. And sometimes it takes practice. And so, same with yoga, practice makes more practice. And so that's why it's called a spiritual practice or a yoga practice or any of those practices. It's a journey. It's not a destination. And this idea of creating more awareness, this idea of cultivating this light, or actually cultivating this awareness of the light within us. It's not about creating the light. The light is already there. We already have all those things that we need, but instead it's about opening our eyes to it. And so there's no secret, there's no recipe, there's no magic formula or equation. And, that's not the way it works. I wish it was. We don't have to plug in the perfect numbers to get a perfect response. And, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. We're all in process. We're all learning and growing and transforming and evolving and discovering, and yes, cultivating our awareness of the truth that we are already that which we seek. We are already connected. Even the cultivate the light. It's a practice, and it's a journey. It's a wild journey, actually. And I think John O'Donohue summed up pretty clearly the journey of cultivating this light, the journey of understanding our light, the journey of activating the power of that light that was within us, and expanding it into our experience, our lived experience. And John O'Donohue says, "There's a quiet light that shines in every heart. It draws no attention to itself, though it is always secretly there. It is what illumines our minds to see beauty, our desire to seek possibility, and our hearts to love life. Without this subtle quickening, our days would be empty and wearisome, and no horizon would ever awaken our longing. Our passion for life is quietly sustained from somewhere in us that is wedded to the energy and the excitement of life. This shy inner light is what enables us to recognize and receive our very presence here as a blessing. We enter the world as strangers who all at once become heirs to a harvest of memory and spirit, and a dream that has long preceded us and will now unfold, nourish, and sustain us." And so that's what it is, that journey of nourishing and unfolding and sustaining us. That is what it means to cultivate this light. That is what it means to be aware, to heighten our awareness of that. And for us to set our daily intention of looking at those things that maybe have blocked our awareness. And sometimes they're super obvious, and sometimes they take a little prodding and practicing to see. But this understanding, what bolsters us, what supports us, what moves us forward, is this understanding that the light is already within us. And the very essence of its presence ushers us into this life of limitless possibilities, this life where we're free to practice this awareness. We're free to cultivate this awareness and see the transformative effects that it has.